New information comes to light on the man who allegedly drove into a fake patrol car in Summers, severely damaging it. Montana Highway Patrol Trooper David Mills says 51-year-old Ronald Brown from Lakeside was traveling southbound on Highway 93 in his Ford F-150 on Sunday night. He misjudged a curve in the road. Continuing straight, Brown went off the shoulder and rolled his vehicle, damaging the front end of a fake patrol car and barely missing a coffee hut stand. Brown fled the scene and authorities later found him at 6:30 that morning. Brown was transported to the hospital for injuries but was expected to be released Monday afternoon. Trooper Mills says charges are pending. After years of being unable to speak in full sentences, a young Big Fork boy found his voice through a unique speech class in the Flathead Valley. KAJ's Marin Sue has this story.
He was about 6 months old, that he wasn't making the normal babbling baby sounds that you would normally hear. He was only grunting and making noises.
An otherwise healthy baby boy. It was then when mom Jessica Fulford noticed something wasn't quite right with her son Owen.
So it wasn't until he was 15 months old and still just making noises that our pediatrician said, okay, we think there's an issue here.
Little Owen was diagnosed with apraxia of speech. Susan Hansen, speech-language pathologist, explains what apraxia is.
It's actually neurologically based, and it's is related to the articulators, the different parts of your mouth, getting the correct messages from the brain about where to go and what to do.
Hansen says about 5 to 8% of children in the country experience this speech delay. Both Owen's parents were uncertain what this meant for Owen's future.
It was scary at first, I would say, like knowing that he might have a disability that he'd have to deal with in school.
We didn't even know really what his voice sounded like.
It was shortly after the Fulfords stumbled across a unique holistic therapy called the Hannon Method. Originating in Canada, Hansen says the Child Development Center in the Flathead Valley is the only location offering this method in Montana. Hansen explains parents integrate the method into simple everyday home life activities.
Waiting for them to communicate what they want. It might be giving them just a little bit of milk so that they need to ask again.
In a short amount of time with various therapies, Owen made miraculous progress.
He went from 0 words to a little less than a year ago. He put 2 words together. He said, "Hi, Mama," and I started bawling.
Taught at the Child Development Center, the Hannon class did more than just give Owen the power of speech. It brought Ben and Jessica closer together.
We were learning together as a team, and it kind of brought us together with teamwork as to, how we're going to approach this and what we should do.
Fulford says while apraxia is a lifelong diagnosis, today you can't even tell Owen has a speech delay. Both Jessica and Ben will reassess Owen's speech once he enters preschool next year. In Kalispell, Marin Sue, MTN News.
Susan Hansen suggests anyone with concerns regarding their child's speech or development overall should contact Child Development Center. Moving now to weather, temperatures are about to take a drop. Chief Meteorologist Elizabeth Copeland joins us now in studio with the details. Elizabeth?
Yeah, good evening, Lauren. Another cold front is moving in from the north, slowly shifting to the south, but some of those areas across eastern and central Montana already feeling the impacts of that much cooler weather. 32 right now across the High Line, where we're in the 60s still across the Bitterroot Valley, 50s across north and west. That cooler air will slowly funnel into our area later on tomorrow, though. That's when we take that drop into the upper 30s for highs. We expect that rebound in temperatures as we head into Friday and Saturday, though. Some of us could even be hitting the 50s for the beginning of the weekend. Another system moves in for the end of the weekend and beginning of the week. We take another drop there, but we're going to start watching this first system as it moves through tonight into tomorrow, and that breeze is going to pick up. Already feeling the breeze across north and west now, but expect gusts to even be up to 40 miles per hour in wind-prone valleys. We have more on this next system and when it moves out coming up in our extended forecast.
Thanks, Elizabeth. In the past 6 weeks, western Montana has experienced 2 winter storms and a level of air pollutants we typically experience in early winter, and it's only early November. Is this an indication of what harsh winter lies ahead? Meteorologist Russ Thomas visited with the National Weather Service to find out more from their long-range weather forecasting expert.
National Weather Service senior meteorologist Robert Nestor has issued his annual long-range winter forecast for western Montana. This year's forecast is based on what are called INSO-neutral conditions, which is a lack of El Niño or La Niña influences. Nestor says this is the least predictable scenario.
There's no well-defined weather pattern that we can lock into and say this is more frequent than not. During neutral years, we've had 4 in the last 20 years, and they've all been different.
This pattern offers no real indication of a long-range bias. A stretch of cold, snowy conditions could easily switch to a stretch of dry days with valley inversions. Nestor says neutral conditions, which have been in place 22 of the last 70 years, have offered our most extreme winter weather events.
Our coldest temperature we've ever had in Missoula was 33 degrees below zero in 1957. Our wettest snow season came 96, 97 when we had probably over 40 inches just during Christmas week.
This is a trend worth noting in INSO-neutral years. There does seem to be more frequent intense events. And, as this fall has already shown, it doesn't take an extreme snowfall to create dangerous conditions. Our late October flash freeze led to over 50 auto accidents in Missoula city limits in a 24-hour period. So, is there anything we can hang our hats on when planning when it comes to weather this winter?
I would tell them to pay attention to those 1 and 2 week forecasts because we can have confidence in a major change.
The bottom line, if you love winter storms that produce a lot of snow, you're almost guaranteed to get a couple or maybe more. But if you prefer more settled weather, you're almost certain to get stretches of dry conditions between snow events. In Missoula, Russ Thomas, MTN News.
The current 8 to 14-day outlook, which spans from November 13th to the 19th, calls for near normal conditions for temperatures and precipitation. An early morning fire destroyed part of a West Yellowstone business and leaves 7 people displaced from their homes. MTN's Chet Lehman tells us a mutual aid fire response from 3 states kept this fire from destroying more buildings and maybe even taking lives.
We know is we had an early morning commercial fire started in a mechanical shop here. By the time our crews got on scene, the fire was fully involved. We had smoke and flame showing out the roof structure.
The fire was reported around 3 o'clock by a West Yellowstone police officer. The shop housed 5 snow coaches, and all the tools, tanks, and fuels needed to service them. Nearby residents say the fireballs were shooting 150 feet in the air. Debris could be found a block away from the scene. Crews were able to save a hotel that shared space with a shop, but they couldn't save everything.
2 trailers completely destroyed, as was the shop and all of the contents in this alley behind me. What was the cause? That's a question to be answered by the state fire marshal.
The entire building was a loss. We have the state fire marshal coming down to do the investigation on that. So I can't really comment to the cause and origin of the fire right now. What I can say is that we lost the commercial building and 2 residential trailer houses that people were living in and are displaced from this morning.
It took crews hours to bring the blaze under control, and those crews came from 3 states.
We had Big Sky Fire come down with a couple engines and some command, and it helped out tremendously. We had Island Park come over with 5 individuals and 2 engines, and we also had an engine from Old Faithful come in.
Now, the owner of the shop lost 5 snow coaches just weeks before the winter season begins in West Yellowstone. No word on how long the investigation into the cause of the fire will take. In West Yellowstone, Chet Lehman, MTN News.
Chet tells us there were no injuries, and because the winter season is a few weeks away, there were no guests in the neighboring hotel at the time of the fire. Coming up next on KAJ, Cher announces a stop in Missoula for her recent tour, and we'll introduce you to our weekly One Class at a Time winner. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. The 5:30 news continues on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
America's family farmers say a perfect storm is putting them out of business, and new data backs that up. Farm bankruptcy filings are up 25% from this time last year. There are a few factors at play. With a recent trade war, China is buying a lot less of Americans' agricultural goods. There's also been some bad weather. The USDA says 19 million acres of farmland were never even planted this year because of record rains and flooding. Farmers are also dealing with a 6-year slump in livestock prices. Congress is currently working out the details of a relief bill, and President Trump has earmarked $28 billion in aid to farmers affected by the trade war. Another Republican on Tuesday joined the race for Montana's Secretary of State, bringing the total number of GOP candidates for this office to 4. This newest candidate already holds another statewide office. Supreme Court Clerk Bowen Greenwood announced his candidacy at the state Republican Party headquarters in Helena, surrounded by his supporters. He says he likes his current job, which he won in the election, but Greenwood says it's important for Republicans to hang on to the Secretary of State's seat and its election overseeing powers, and that he believes he's the best candidate to do it. He noted that he has experienced working in office and is, quote, a proven conservative. He has already shown he can win a statewide election. The other Republicans in the race are Senate President Scott Sales of Bozeman, Deputy Secretary of State Christy Jacobson, and State Representative Forrest Mandeville of Columbus. But Greenwood says he won't be criticizing his primary opponents.
You know, I'm not here to run against anybody. I am going to get to the primary, and you're never going to hear me say a negative word about any of those folks in public. I think they're fine human beings. We generally agree. But I don't think any of them have exactly the same combination that I do of abilities and experience that will help us win the election.
The only Democrat in the race for the open Secretary of State seat is Representative Bryce Bennett of Missoula. It looks like Cher is trying to turn back time and expand her latest farewell tour. And now her latest tour is coming through Billings. The performer will be at the First Interstate Arena on April 26, 2020. This is part of her Here We Go Again tour. Tickets go on sale on Friday at metropark.com or at the box office. Our KAJ-TV Republic Services One Class at a Time grant winner is getting several pairs of headphones and iPad cases for her classroom. Paxton's second grade Spanish teacher Jen Dubler received a $250 check from Republic Services Municipal Manager Chad Bauer and KAJ-TV General Manager Bob Hermes. Dubler says the school provided her students with iPads, which are used to further enhance the library she has in her classroom. The headphones allow the students to work and learn at their own pace, and they're able to do so while Dubler works with other students individually and in small groups.
They can have the ability to go in and support their language, and then also when we do math days, they're able to go in and do their math apps while I'm also teaching other small groups hands-on.
If you're a teacher or school administrator and would like to apply for the One Class at a Time grant, go to our website, kaj18.com. Coming up next on KAJ, breezy conditions through the northwest tonight and tomorrow. Temperatures take about a 10-degree drop on Wednesday and clouds stick around. Meteorologist Elizabeth Copeland is back on the other side of the break with when we can expect to see warmer temperatures again. Welcome back. So I was walking out to my car today and I noticed there was just a layer of fog everywhere I looked, and then there was a thin sheet of ice on the top of my car.
Oh yeah, that frost and a little bit of that fog definitely a possibility. As stable conditions contain at least western Montana today. That all changes tonight though as wind starts to pick up. Already getting reports of wind picking up across the north and west, all because of this cold front that's going to start sliding through, mostly hanging right along the divide. Most of the activity, like we saw with the last system earlier this week, was right behind that cold front and off to central and eastern Montana. So quite a few snow showers in the forecast for central and eastern Montana. For us though, cooler weather is going to start funneling in for the north and west, but we're actually going to see mostly clouds rather than precipitation for tonight and tomorrow morning. So that cold front, you can see almost the outline of it as temperatures right in Great Falls are almost at freezing. We're in Missoula and Kalispell still in the mid to low 50s. So quite a bit of that difference with that cold air wedging in just onto the divide. So all that air is staying east of us. So warmer air still in our forecast for now. We are tracking some cooler conditions for tomorrow. But Polson today did see some of that sunshine, at least earlier in the afternoon. Some peaks of sunshine made its way through the north and west, but mostly cloudy conditions are starting to funnel in through the north and west tonight. So tonight's overnight lows mostly stay below freezing across all of the state, if not right at freezing. The north and west corner of the state mostly hold out in the 20s, if not some mid 20s. Those warmer spots as usual, Thompson Falls, Trout Creek, right at freezing, just slightly below that. So overall, a very chilly night in our forecast as we head into tonight, and tomorrow is another cooler one as well. We do track more of those clouds moving in as some more of that system actually pushes to the west of the divide, but snow showers are going to remain very isolated to those upper elevations across the divide and very close to the divide. So not expecting a lot of activity in valleys or further further west than the divide than we're going to see tonight. So a lot of that activity, if any, will be some very isolated showers or snow showers across upper elevations, possibly the missions, but overall most of that moisture stays to our east. What we do have tonight is going to be some of that wind. Very windy conditions pick up through tonight into tomorrow morning. Some upper elevations there in those yellows like the missions, parts of the divide, and upper elevations like Swan Lake are going to see a gust up to about 30-40 miles per hour, while Kalispell, Missoula, we're going to get about 20-25 mile per hour gusts through the early morning hours of tomorrow. And then we start to calm down quite a bit. That cold front is going to kick out of here, and clear skies are going to return to the forecast for Wednesday, and wind is going to stay out of our forecast. So overall, we do have that cooler air trickling in tonight. That is going to last through tomorrow. We're going to have a quick drop in temperatures for tomorrow afternoon. Wednesday's highs in the mid 30s, even some low 40s out there across the northwest part of the state. So it's going to stay chilly as that cooler air settles in, but the good news is we rebound quickly right back to fall-like weather by Friday. Those clouds are going to stick into the forecast as we head through the weekend though. So last day of sunshine will be today. Windy conditions tomorrow morning as you head out the door, about 30 mile per hour gusts possible, especially in those wind prone areas in the north and west. 36 degrees the high in Kalispell tomorrow, rebounding quickly through Friday up to the 40s, even some 50s in the south and west. But overall, we're going to see a lot more of that rain chance return to the forecast through the weekend as we see our next system dip down from the north, creating some more widespread showers in time for early next week. But enjoy those 50s as we head into Friday afternoon.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Coming up next in sports, Jack Ginsburg has highlights from the Lady Grizz' first regular season game of the year, and we hear from Grizz football before they head to their upcoming home game against Idaho. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break.
Here's the latest market watch from KAJ.
Windy conditions pick up tonight and last through early Wednesday morning. High pressure settles back in for the end of the week and beginning of the weekend, so we could see some more of those foggy conditions, even some lower air quality conditions as we start to see that valley fog settle in for Friday, but then the next system moves in for the weekend.
Thank you so much, and thank you for watching. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.
Our next system brings cooler air for tomorrow, while more tonight at 10. Good evening, I'm meteorologist Elizabeth Copeland. A big drop in temperatures tomorrow as a cold front starts sliding through. We continue tracking a rebound of temperatures as we head into Saturday. More on that coming up tonight at 10. Good evening to you. I'm meteorologist Elizabeth Copeland. Behind a cold front, not only is cooler air funneling in for tomorrow, but windy conditions start picking up. We expect about 10 to 20 mile per hour gusts through western Montana, especially through the north and west. That lasts through tomorrow morning. We'll have more on the effects of that cooler air tonight at 10.